Alright, so I've got a new monitor. This is a 24-inch 1440p. The cheapest one that Amazon has. Can we focus on that? There we go. Yeah, we change that. There we go. Now we can read it. In any case, it's the cheapest 1440p monitor. It costs about 90 bucks. You can see how it tells me I'm supposed to open it, but yeah. I'm going to open it sideways here and pull it out. Or maybe I'll do it like they say. Overall, it looks pretty basic. We have the stand, the power brick, and all that stuff here. An instruction manual. Nicely packaged. Power cord. Or no, that's a display port. That was very nice of them. And the panel itself, which of course we'll put together and I'll sit on the desk and we will compare against just a standard Dell. That'll give us a little bit of a start and we'll go from there. So apparently this monitor, even though it's a small one, has a DisplayPort, HDMI, audio in, USB, and the DC. The controls for it are pretty typical. There's like an up and down select and all that stuff. Of course, the power button. We'll have to see how all this maps out. I'm curious. It looks like it's adjustable. The stand is adjustable. It looks like there's audio. So we will have to see if these claims are in fact true. There is a manual that came with it. It has absolutely no details on what any of the outputs, inputs, or other such puts there may be for this machine or this monitor. Putting the stand together is pretty basic, but a nice little touch here. This appears to be a place to tuck the wires to keep cable management in decent shape. Just a little turnkey here. Not difficult at all to figure out. This does look like it tilts back and forth, but not up and down. But what would you expect for a cheap 24-inch monitor? But so far, that's metal. That's not plastic. It's fairly sturdy. Let's finish putting it together. I do have to also say that most of the bags were resealable. Yeah, so that's pretty unexpected. Of course, I wasn't expecting it, so that's why I tore a hole in the bottom of one of them. But it was nice to see them having resealable bags. Just those little things that you don't think about. Yeah, maybe it's just standard now. Oh, by the way, we're going to test this with the 3050. That was the main reason I got, the RTX 3050. The main reason I was going to record this part was to tell you that, and then I got sidetracked. But, squirrel. So right away, looking at these, I can look at these from the same viewing angle, even though they're kind of diagonal from each other. But the new one is much, much brighter. Now, you'd almost expect that because the Dell is a little bit older. But the 1440p, the newest, this Kumpu or whatever the name of it is, it strikes me how many little details there are with this, and that it is so bright. Let's try to figure out a few things, see if we can tell some major differences. But for 90 bucks, I mean, come on. I mean, this isn't really a review on this. This is just sort of a, hey, look, here's a new monitor that's not too bad. But let me take, let's work through a few other things and see. It does pick up that it's a 1440 running at 100 hertz, so that's good. Yeah, so far, so good. I just need to see if there's like audio on this thing, and then, because there was a jack for it. We'll see. I don't know what I was expecting for 90 bucks, but you know what? If you're looking for a cheap monitor, 1440p, that's not a bad way to go. All right, so pretty obviously there's no speakers. There was no bezel. I didn't see any kind of openings or anything like that, but it does, I don't know if you can hear that, but it goes to the headset just fine. So yes, it is processing sound. Yeah, so that's not bad. We can live with that. It sounds good and clear. But the headphones are pretty decent. They're HyperX. Anyway. All right, off to the next thing. We'll talk about this. All right, it's a little hard to tell from this angle, but when I did turn it back on, I could see some bleeding, some light bleeding in on the edges. So obviously it's not a perfect display. It's side lit, I'm pretty sure. I would almost bet with being the price. The panel to get to the controls, it's pretty easy back here. Whoa, okay. Pretty easy to find. Pretty easy to navigate, and it only took me a few minutes to try to figure that out, so not too bad. And so with the middle button of those 5, we can alternate between these display modes pretty easily. We don't have to go fully into the menu to change that. So, yeah, it works out pretty well. So after checking a few things out, running a couple more tests, and just kind of comparing, now keep in mind that Dell is an old monitor, but it's been a pretty decent monitor. It's got a display port, it's got a VGA, and it's got HDMI, so I've been able to test, quite a few different things, but it was only 1080p. This 1440p HDMI, it only has one HDMI, only has one display port, does have the audio port, but I mean, it's not too bad. I'll still be able to do a majority of my testing, and now I can use that workbench area a little more to my liking. And basically, that's all it's going to be used for. I don't have any need to take that. Well, you know what? This was cheap enough. I might buy another one just so I can take it with me when I take my mini PC or my small form factor. All right, so there we go. While I'm recording, I'm thinking more stuff. Anyway, it was really inexpensive. Kumpu's the name. You can find it on Amazon. I'm not Amazon. I will order stuff from Amazon, but I'm not pushing any products from Amazon. I'm not sponsored by these guys. There was no thing. I just came across a monitor that was cheap and fit everything I needed, and it was the cheapest 1440p monitor on Amazon. And it actually turns out to be pretty good. And if it only lasts 6 months or 8 months or a year, no big deal. I would like it to last longer than that, obviously. But for what it is, that's not too bad. I can't really complain. I've got a bunch of 1080p monitors that aren't doing, well, I say a bunch, like 3 or 4, but they're not doing me as much good as this one might be able to. So, again, not sponsored by, this isn't, not an Amazon affiliate. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just found the least expensive 1440p monitor I could find on Amazon, and I bought it, and it turns out it's not a bad deal. So for $90, we're actually getting a pretty good deal here. So it's amazing how much better monitors have gotten over the past couple of years, and monitors, TV, stuff like that. Now, if RAM and storage would just behave itself, we'd be golden, right? Anyway, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on it. I'm just not trying to do a sales pitch, just trying to give information here. And I'm not going to run through a full barrage of testing to see how close the color accuracy is because, well, first of all, I don't need it. I'm not editing on that machine or anything like that, and I don't have the tools for it. But as far as what it is, it's very sturdy. The stand surprised me that it's metal. It feels dense. The monitor itself feels dense. It doesn't feel lightweight, flimsy plastic. It was a pretty stout. Good connections, the good solid connections, and so far it looks pretty good, especially for the price I paid for it. So I'm happy overall. But like I said, if you got anything on the video, go ahead and throw a like on it. If you don't mind, go ahead and subscribe. I sure would appreciate that. Trying to push to 2,000, 3,000 and beyond so we can do some things with this channel. If you don't do that, check out the socials. Don't forget them. I am streaming a little bit more often on that purple channel and trying to post some highlights on a second, like a gaming channel. I don't want to put those highlights on this channel. That would detract from the actual tech stuff I do here. But yeah, so got that going on. But if you don't do any of those things, if you don't like, subscribe, or hit the other socials, just do me one favor, and let's just be good to each other. Smile, wave, hold the door open. I ask all the time, and there are people that genuinely tell me in the comments sometimes that they do, and it does make their day a little bit better. So you never know. The person's day that you make better might be yours. Well, anyway, have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, and there's, you see piles of that stuff back there. There's a bunch of it. But until that happens, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.